Upon the transition of American administrations, American presidents and first ladies have honored the long-held tradition of sitting for portraits. These presidential portraits are on display in the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery for millions of people to view the history of leaders who have influenced and shaped this nation. Over time, these portraits have served as representations of a president and first lady's accomplishments and the legacy and how they viewed their service in the White House. Throughout this video, Alicia and myself will discuss the recently unveiled portraits of the former First Lady Michelle Obama, painted by Amy Sherald, and how it represents a change in American culture and values as a result of the first African American presidency. Mrs. Obama expanded the roles of First Lady from serving at homeless shelters and soup kitchens to creating the Let's Move campaign to combat childhood obesity. Additionally, regardless of her husband's occupation, she is an accomplished woman. As a graduate of Princeton and Harvard Law School, a writer and a lawyer, Mrs. Obama symbolized feminism and the American desire for a reformed government that acknowledges the mistakes of its past. Her artist, Sherald, faced an unprecedented and monumental task to capture the first African American First Lady whose portrait will be hung in a building built by slaves. And her work comments on race in America that also provides an intimate encounter with the psyche of the historic First Lady. The Obama legacy has shaped the U.S. and illustrates the progression of the U.S. since its days of African American enslavement and segregation. Still, the country struggles to kill off racism in the many forms that it takes today, but the Obama's impact is monumental and long-lasting. These portraits will remind future generations how much wishful fulfillment was embodied in the Obamas and how gracefully they bore that burden.
The former First Lady and the former President commissioned their portraits to be painted respectively by African-American artists Amy Sherald and Kehinde Wiley. The former First Lady commissioned Amy Sherald to paint her portrait, knowing her experience in African-American portraitures painted with the stylized realism. Sherald's work takes a closer look at the way people construct and perform their identities in response to political, social, and cultural expectations, and focuses on the issues of race and identity within the South. In hiring Amy Sherald, Michelle Obama sends an important message on the representation of Black women in today's society. These bold and vivid depictions of the Obamas dramatically draw a distinction from the traditional portraits of first couples. In the past, presidents and first ladies were typically done as oil-on-canvas paintings with a monochromatic style. With a pensive, stoic, and intellectual pose in traditional attire, these previous portraits almost seem to blend together. However, the Obamas' portraits represent a conscious break and departure from constricting presidential norms in a bold and powerful way. The former First Lady is illustrated with a curious mix of confidence and vulnerability, as art critic Philip Kennicott describes. Placing the couture-clad Mrs. Obama with a pensive pose on a light blue background, Sherald paints her subject as the paradigm of a modern woman. Showcasing the First Lady's famous arms expresses the quiet defiance to the First Lady's critics and emphasizes her unwavering sense of self. In addition, painting Michelle Obama's body with Sherald's signature gray tone provides subtle commentary on the irrelevance of the First Lady's skin color, and instead illustrates the quiet wishes and desires reflected in Michelle Obama's ambiguous expression. Lastly, the elegant dress bears an additional symbolic weight. The cotton fabric, along with the geometric pattern inspired by Southern Black quilters, serve as a nod to Black artists in the history of African American enslavement. This groundbreaking portrait of the first African American First Lady symbolizes the marking of a new era within American history and emphasizes how Michelle Obama fiercely redefined the roles of the First Lady and the modern African American woman.
I see leaders who will inspire folks not just here in Tower Hamlets, but all across the country and all around the world. That's what I see, because I know what's inside of girls like you and like me.
For our digital encyclopedia, Alicia and I plan on splitting our first draft of the essay into 2 major pieces and writing these separately, then revising each other's sections to complete our first draft due on March 29th. From there, we will complete the memo together and we'll revise the essay together based on comments from our group and you. On the weekend of April 7th, we will finalize our essay by ensuring that we have all of our images and works cited completed. By Thursday, April 12th, we will publish our final draft of the essay to the digital encyclopedia.